Hi, folks. So excited to welcome you back today. I'm Justine, your host, and here at Essential Ingredients, we have another great episode for you. So I'm excited specifically because this topic is it's so big and there's so many opportunities for it. And it's something that I'm passionate about. So I hope you are too. What we're going to talk about is fermentation. We're going to talk about pickles. We're going to talk about pickling. And we're going to talk about community and giving back to your community and building within your community. So you're not going to want to miss this episode. Stay tuned for Sam. She is the founder of Golden State Pickle Works. So Sam, thank you so much for joining me today here on the Essential Ingredients podcast. It's great to have you. Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So for those of you that are tuning in for the first time today, thank you so much. Thank you for joining our community. Thank you for being curious. Thank you for, participating so we can continue to grow our community here, both to learn more, to make more informed choices, and to connect and talk about the impact of health on our life, our wellness, the planet, etc. So today we're focusing on Golden State Pickle Works. So Sam, if you would, for those folks that, whether they've been here or not, are not familiar with what that is, would you just give us a little snapshot?
Yes. Well, thank you again for having me. This is really exciting. Golden State Pickle Works and Collective Cultures are two brands that I make. We have fermented vegetables, condiments, and salad dressing. So basically, I make pickles, pickled things, and things made out of pickles. We really focus on the natural fermentation side of everything. So you get probiotic benefits with everything that we make. Of course, because we are in America and American style pickles do use vinegar and a little sweetener, we do some of those too. But we really focus on all the things you can do with what such a small sliver of what people think is, and then kind of just expand on that.
I love that. Okay, so many questions. Where to start? Let's start with that little sliver. What's the little sliver we're focusing on?
So I learned that people understood pickles as long, green, skinny things. Cucumbers, really, cucumbers only. And I coming from a chef background in Bay Area restaurants, I couldn't even imagine only having a pickled cucumber. And I kind of wondered why it was that the mass majority of people didn't realize you can pickle anything in the world. And so I started to try and develop on all of those flavors. I do cucumbers while they're in season, but in California, because I'm a very hyper seasonal company and only use organic produce, cucumbers and pickling cucumbers are only around for about 2 months out of the year. And although we will ferment and pickle as many as we can and we'll sell those out, there are so many other vegetables to celebrate throughout the seasons. So
What's your favorite vegetable to pickle throughout the seasons?
okay, so my answer is always the newest thing that comes into season, because I've already been pickling all these other things. But one of my newest favorite things that we're doing from a local farm here in Sonoma are these beautiful watermelon radishes. And
Love them.
yes, so as it's kind of a sweet pickle and it's super vibrant and pink. I thought that the Togarashi watermelon radishes were really great for that. Yeah, I feel like with all the produce that we have around and at the perfection peak, it's a pity not to preserve it and share it all year round.
Totally. And, there's also, so many people are not familiar with all these different things, right? And we're seeing so many variations. And I do think the market is expanding there. People are starting to ferment more things. And one of the conversations that I think is really interesting is the connection between the fermentation and the gut health.
Oh, yes, yes. So through fermentation, basically the only thing that's making a raw vegetable into a pickle is the bacteria that grows while we're aging it. So we make a salt brine and sort of make a really nice environment for the good bacteria to thrive in, and all the botulism, all the bad bacteria, they don't want anything to do with that. So we wait for those bacteria to grow. That kind of produces a lactic acid, and that acid is what changes the vegetable into a pickle, all the while producing lactobacillus bacteria, which is what makes our gut so healthy.
And so, what role did the health, the impact of what you were doing, play in your inspiration and you creating these pickled, these different pickled vegetables?
To be honest, none at all.
None at all. Okay,
I
that's fair.
I come from a chef's background, and I honestly care about the flavor. That's why I started this business, because everything I was tasting was not delicious. And I knew it was, and I was upset that it wasn't. So I was like, fine, I'll just make it myself, and I hope that other people will taste this too and realize that this is really what good sauerkraut is, or this is what really great kimchi is. So over the first few years of learning what a business was, because, I'd only been a chef before, producing really tasty things, I started to read up on all the benefits that all of this had, and I fall in love more and more and get more inspired every time I learn something new, and I'm still learning all about it. I think it's such an amazing thing that happens in science that I stumbled upon and that I randomly chose, kind of,
Mhm.
as my career, that is so healthful and very delicious.
Yeah, I mean, what an amazing thing to be able to think locally, use your background as a chef to make something that's super tasty, and then find out that what you're making is actually really healthy.
So cool. It was so
My
cool.
mom would call that a triple win.
Yes, yes.
We call that a
So,
triple win. So I'm curious. So as it's evolved and as you learn more stuff, have you changed anything as a result of the learning or education that you've gotten of the impact that you're having both on people's gut health as
yeah.
well as what people want?
So it's about the marketing at this point, right? Your latest episode was mentioning this. But I definitely have come from a small little sliver of cooks, right? I didn't know the first thing about business or anything before I started this. So having to learn it while doing it is kind of frustrating, but the only way to really learn. So I had recently gone through a marketing boot camp, kind of, where I am differentiating myself from all the other people, because what's good for you is not my main concern. What's good for you, my main concern is I'm doing I'm living this business the way I want to, by sourcing organically and locally and hyper seasonally and just highlighting natural flavors and all of that. And I want people to feel confident that they can make something delicious at home. And it just so happens to be really, really good for you.
Okay, so I have to ask. So you choose organic, you choose local, all these things that people talk about as being the healthier choice. Why are they your choice? If health is not paramount, right? And that's fair. It doesn't have to be. I mean, let's be honest, taste is king. If if it is the healthiest thing in the world and tastes disgusting, I mean, who's going to eat it? It's going to be hard. You're going to have a small, very small portion of the population.
It's important to me because I live it. I work at the farmers markets. I'm friends with the farmers. I've chosen a life surrounded by food from before I became an adult. And preparing food in restaurants with the utmost respect has translated into getting the best ingredients possible to give you the best experience of sauerkraut possible. And uh, organic ingredients taste better to me. They taste like what they're supposed to taste like. The politics and all the things around how the earth is treated and the money that goes behind all the things that are against the organic farmers, I want nothing to do with it. I kind of want to be against that. And completely understand when people can't buy organic produce, and I always kind of recommend a few ingredients that are like fine, just rinse them right off. I understand that it's expensive or out of range for a lot of people, and so I want to try and help intensify those nutrients as much as possible. And starting with the best is always my game.
So it's more of your ethos. And
Yes.
so
Yeah.
is it fair to say, like, to understand you is to understand that you want to do right by the agriculture, by the farmers, by everyone. And as a result, your product is a really good product and it is better for you and it is organic
Yeah.
and it is all those things, even if it's for different reasons.
Yep.
Your ethos is what people can get behind.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's not about what's reading on the bottle. It's about what's understanding who you are as a founder.
And that's kind of the hardest part to get the word across off of a jar label, which is why trying to be out there more, being more verbal and doing more events and just being out there publicly and speaking more about things teaches people about our brand and really what we're about.
So I want to go back to when you were talking about, you started as a chef and then you transitioned and started this pickling company
Mm-hmm.
and you became an entrepreneur. Um, and there is a concept like, is it in your DNA? Did you become an entrepreneur? Were you an entrepreneur? You know what I mean? Like, I think we're all, some of us have that drive to be scrappy, to, create a business.
By the time I started the business, I was still working in a restaurant, and I knew that was going to be the last restaurant. I had recently moved from San Francisco in the Bay Area restaurant scene up to Sonoma, and it was a culture shock for sure on how restaurants were run. And I needed to get used to that because it was just
Yes.
it's a slow Noma. It's, that's the nickname here.
I did not know that.
So cute. It's darling. It's like, I love it. It's great. It's wonderful for the holiday or whatever. But, for a grinding person, it was shocking. And so I realized that, okay, I think I'm done with restaurants. And I became a private chef for a local wine family here. I was a consulting chef at a cafe, and I started to sell my products at farmers markets and had about 3 jobs for the first year until I basically said, if I tried really hard at a farmers market, I think I can pay my bills.
So you've been at this now, and so you're sort of, getting your on-the-job MBA, so to speak, I like to say, right? Um, so as you've learned that people are more interested in what they're putting in their bodies, and you fell into a place where you created something that's healthy and organic because of your ethos and because of what you liked as a chef. How do you see the future? And what does that look like now that you're hearing that people are interested in healthy and interested in what they put in their bodies?
So I've learned that we can always expand on more. Uh, just like that cucumber conversation, once you've done all the kinds of pickled cucumbers, now we can go to cauliflower. Now we can go to peppers. Now we can go to fennel. Now we can go to every single other vegetable. And I feel that people are becoming more uh, open. People
Mhm.
are becoming more open to what they're trying. Of course, when we go to a new restaurant, we probably pick out the typical thing that they're known for, right? And then if that's good, then we expand a little bit. Then we'll trust them a little bit more. I have a couple of products that are crowd pleasing, kind of well-known pickles, if you will. And once I kind of get their trust that it's going to be good no matter what, then they start tasting the weirder, kind of funner seasonal products that we have. I do think that people are becoming more trusting as they experience more, and because they are more well informed about what they're putting in their body, they are much more enthusiastic about eating it as well.
So, to the listeners and the viewers that are tuning in, that are founders, that maybe are working on a product or having, conjuring up their first idea, what recommendation would you make to them based on your experience?
One thing that I am glad about is we never went back on our values. Throughout 10 years, we have gone through very scary times and have really debated, can we afford glass? Can we do that? Like, no, was a lot of the time. We're not certified organic. We're just living it. We don't pay for that seal because I don't have the money to pay for that seal. However, we live it and it is all 100% organic.
So from what I can hear from you, you're really drawn by the community. What you want to give the community something that's really meaningful, that's good, that's healthy, that's organic. You want to work with the local farmers. You want to get to know your community. So as it relates to building your business, what role does community play in it for you?
I've made a point of saying yes more, and hosting workshops, which I honestly thought would take away from my business sales. But of course it doesn't, because people are not going to be going home and making sauerkraut. They just want to learn how to make sauerkraut. And that was a fun adventure. And they got their hands dirty and smushed up sauerkraut, for cabbage for about, 10 minutes. But the community really kind of helped me shape our line. If just because I liked the tartar sauce doesn't mean that everybody else is going to like the tartar sauce.
Yeah.
And they're the ones keeping it in their refrigerator for a month as it explodes out of the bottle. The salad dressings, the sprouted cashew thing. We learn a lot by people's feedback and learning by that. So I'm really happy that the farmers market patrons, whenever they give feedback, it really is because I should know, I should know that thing got mold on it, I should know that it didn't last the way it did. Or I should know that she accidentally left that in her cupboard and not in the refrigerator for 2 years. And this is going to be a really cool experiment. And that was really cool to see. One time somebody came back 2 years later. That was a jar in their cupboard that was supposed to be left in the refrigerator. And we both opened it up and I tasted a bite and I was like, that's really cool. That's still sauerkraut. It 2 years outside in a cupboard and it was still totally.
Wow, that was nothing you planned.
No, she brought it back because she made a big mistake. And she was very scared. But like the natural fermentation, when you start off the right way, the good always wins. The good bacteria always win. And that's the kind of the biggest thing to have confidence in, is knowing how to prepare that environment for success. And yeah, so other than the workshops, I also have a series coming out called Jarring Everything. And
amazing.
once it ends up in a jar, it's preservation. It's a hyper seasonal preservation show. So
where are we going to be seeing this?
it will be on Eat This TV network.
On what?
Eat This. Yeah, I know, it's something YouTube. I don't even know what television is anymore, honestly. But it's.
How did that come about?
So I think that because I've been in the restaurant business for so long, I do get a couple of calls here and there for, Top Chef or Guys Grocery Games or random things locally to film. And everything has been a competition / elimination show. And of course I'm not going to do that. I don't have the time to go do something and then get eliminated. So I might as well just say, I'll leave that to everybody else who feels that they would win. This opportunity came about because they didn't say anything about any competition or elimination. All they wanted me to do was film anything I wanted as far as preservation show goes. And so I went to New York, filmed a show pilot. They ran it with their ratings and everything came back to where they wanted to offer a 12 episode series. So the catch.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. The catch, though, is that I am responsible for half of the production costs. So until I raise another 10 grand, it's not happening. So.
Oh, well, that's amazing, though. What an accomplishment in of itself.
And just exposing our bit, I will teach you how to make all the stuff, and maybe a dish or two using it, and then we'll garnish with our allium aioli or something, and I'll just
So
on over
talk
to
to
our
me
website.
about preservation though, and what that means to you.
Preservation. Our entire culture is a preservation of everything up until today. When we go travel, we're experience the preservation of what makes that country and those people that. I grew up in such a diverse community in Hawaii. Um, plenty plenty kinds of cultures all mishmashed. Yeah, and the most common way we get to travel is through food. Whenever we decide what we're going to eat or anything special that's happening, my question to whoever I'm cooking for is, where do you want to go? Like where should we go with this food? What country do you want? And then we can start narrowing down, what to eat. But it is an experience. And as far as preservation goes in our business, I'm preserving the best ingredients at the time, the best way I know how.
I think it's so creative and inspiring, and I think about it as a home chef, right? Somebody that just, or somebody that likes to cook at home, to be inspired, to figure out what else I can make. If you're making pork, like maybe there's a kimchi, like a pickled, something or other that would be really nice on that. I mean, traditionally, I think of apples or pears, but it doesn't have to be. It could be like a pickled cranberry watermelon pickle, watermelon radish thing or something.
So last night I just had pork and served our kimchi mayo with it, which is our not just chopped up kimchi into mayonnaise. It's fermented ginger and onion and garlic with a little Korean chili flake, and Moroccan sauerkraut that has green apples, celery, and fennel in it. So it was a great cookie.
Wow, that sounds great. Sam, thank you so much. And I just want to, for those founders that are listening, those chefs that are listening that maybe have ideas on creating their own product line, are there maybe 3 tips you might want to give them from your experience?
One, that your relationships with farmers are very important. For
Okay,
sure.
one,
That there are many resources out there to help you.
that's 2, 3 for the win.
3 for the win. Um, Everybody already knows this as chefs, but if you just keep going, it's always going to work out.
Sam, for those friends here on the EI podcast, the community that's tuning in, that's loyal, that have become our friends, if they listen to the whole podcast, is there a discount code you can offer them?
Yes, just type in essential ingredients on your checkout and you'll get
Awesome. But
20
where are they checking out from? Can you
at
give them?
goldenstatepickleworks.com.
Okay, we're going to make sure to throw that in the show notes too, because a code without a
Believe,
direction is a
yeah.
problem.
You think that I've never done this before.
It's all good. It's all good. We all got a sense of humor. People will laugh. We hope. Okay. And so just before we, wrap things up, what are we going to see? Are there any new SKUs coming out that we can look forward to? New things that you're going to be producing in the next couple of years that we should stay up to date on?
Yeah, so we always rotate our products seasonally. So as our Moroccan sauerkraut and kosher dill radishes are going out of season, of course we're going to see our half sour cucumbers, pickled peppers, Italian green beans. We're expanding on our soda line. We're doing a lot of uses with our ferments in condiments. So
Awesome. Sam, it was so great to get to know you, to have you on this podcast. I hope everyone had as much fun as I did tuning in today. Okay, so for those folks that want to get in touch with you, Sam, what's the best way to connect?
Instagram, Golden State Pickle Works, and our website at www.goldenstatepickleworks.com.
Awesome. Thanks so much, all. And
Thank you
don't
so
forget
much.
to follow us on essential.ingredients on Instagram or justine.reichman, as well as if you want to watch the video cast, maybe this time you just aren't, you don't want to watch, you don't want to listen. Don't forget we're on YouTube. We have a channel there. You can look at the Next Gen Purpose, and we'll have our Essential Ingredients podcast. there for the viewing. They're all uploaded. There's shorts and there's longer form videos, and it's a great place to catch this. So we'll see you here again next week for another great episode. But in the meantime, Sam, this was awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.